So yesterday, my neighbor, who is a real estate agent in the South Bay, said, "Hey, I've been watching your videos. They're super inspiring." And then she told me a story about sales in her own life, about how she went out and made some shit happen. There's a massive house right in Manhattan Beach owned by the billionaire, the Carvana founder, which is right across the street from where we live on the Strand. She's selling a property across the street. There was basically some things and uses and zoning that kind of had to go down that sort of slowed down the sale of a project that she was trying to do. And now she had to go and try to find some buyers. And she's like, I just went online, I started Googling, I found a number and an email, and I just emailed them, I was like, what do I have to lose? I got so much upside and little downside. She's like, I didn't get in touch with them, but I got in touch with his general counsel. I left a voicemail, and then they actually called me back, and they said they weren't interested in the property. I was like, that's freaking amazing. She's like, I know, and I just kind of went for it. I'm like, that's exactly it. It's just a great reminder of sales. Look, it's hard. Nobody likes getting said no to, but dude, massive upside, and your only downside is somebody just ghosts you, doesn't reply, or they say no. Like, I don't know. Seems like a no-brainer. And you would be surprised the amount of times, at least in my life, where I just said, like, fuck it, man, like, just go for it. And not playing for perfect, not thinking, I got to write this or I got to find that. It's like, dude, whatever channel is accessible to you right there in that moment, just be natural with it. If you got a good enough idea, if you got a good enough connection, it'll probably hit, right? And if it just feels, this is also another thread that I've been thinking a lot about in terms of content, but it also makes sense just in terms of like sales and outreach. Just do what feels natural, and that's going to resonate more with that person that it lands with, instead of like overproduced, right? So if a YouTube video, for example, is like super overproduced and I say all the right content, but it just lands kind of flat because I'm too focused on like saying the script and the words, versus something like this, just flipping open the camera and just kind of going for it. And that naturalness that's in video, that being natural is just going to communicate the message better rather than having the perfect copy. Hey Heidi, this is Cody calling from Allegiant. I just wanted to confirm our appointment tomorrow at 10 a.m. I believe. Okay, awesome. I'm going to shoot you a text with parking instructions. Is text okay, or do you prefer email? Okay, you want me? I'll email you the instructions, and give yourself an extra like 10 minutes to find parking. It can be a little confusing on your very first time getting there, but I'm really stoked to meet you, talk about your fitness goals, and see if this program could work for you. Okay, so first part of meeting, come on down here. Yeah, you can sit wherever. We'll use a little bit of this. We're gonna go over the raising rate system. $5 per month increase for all members, and a $5 per session increase for all personal training clients who joined Allegiant before July 1st, 2023. Workflow is we announce it to the members, so that went live on June 1st, and then every Saturday we're just reminding people that it's going up. And then in June we'll set up the new contracts and stuff like that. And then we're not gonna, in the past we used to email clients individually, we're not gonna do that. We're just gonna say, hey, we're doing this in the newsletter, and then we're gonna raise the rates. If Sonal has a month-to-month contract, I'm gonna hit yes. You can see that it's red. That kicks you over to this red checklist over here. Make sense? So that's when it's like, okay, we have to terminate the contract, add the term code. We have to make sure the pricing options match. We have to sell the new contract and uncheck pay now. And then we have to check our auto pay schedule. And then I would just go through this and I would go, okay, done. Okay, I did that. Okay, I did that. And okay, I did that. And now Sonal would be done. Let's go into Asana and assign your guys' self a task. The parent task, and put this into your location. So Pete, there's a Santa Monica project.
Yeah.
Go into the Santa Monica project. I want you to make the parent task, which is going to be raise all class membership rates. Due date is 6/22, and then you're gonna make Bill, you're gonna do the same thing in your South Bay one. Mm-hmm. You're gonna make 2 subtasks that it's like round 1. Do 6/14, round 2, do 6/21. Pretend I'm gonna sell this at the right time. I'm gonna go to point of sale. Your guys' accounts are gonna default to your location, so you won't have to do this. My default's to Century City, but I'm gonna go to Santa Monica.
I've been watching a lot of game film with our staff on the sales meetings. So we record the sales meetings and then we will listen to it as a group and we'll give each other feedback. So there's a certain framework of things that we're supposed to do. Just like watching game film when you're playing football, you do practice, you do the game, then immediately come in and you watch how you play. You get so much feedback right then and there, and it just sharpens the sword so much faster. So what you're about to see is some live feedback meeting on our 6-week transformation sales meetings.
I thought your vocal inflection and energy was way better on this one, like outstanding. You sounded excited, you sounded fun, you sounded bubbly, you sounded like somebody I wanted to talk to. Where like the other ones it felt flat, and this one felt energized.
Like last week?
Yeah. I thought your clarifying was really solid. To Bella's point, I thought you took the feedback on selling, and you started out, we designed it for people who wanted to like, that need structure, that need accountability to help you get back in the swing of things. But then you started to get into the TSA stuff. Like, it felt like though on this one, like it was like, it's an accountability fee. If you do it, we'll give it back. There was nowhere like where we talk about credit as a membership or just give it back.
Yeah.
So like I
usually get there. I don't know. That's so funny. I usually get there either if they ask about it or if it seems like, yeah, I don't know why I didn't talk about it that time.
Okay.
Don't remember.
That would be just feedback on that one. Like that one left me feeling like it is totally free. If you do it, we give you your money back, period. So just making sure that we have the whole setup of like, here's how it works, accountability fee, you get it back if you do it, or what we hope happens is you transfer it over to a credit, and we hope you get in the best shape of your life and your wife can't believe it, how you fucking look, and she's like, holy shit, you better, she comes banging down the doors to sign you up for Allegiant, and she says, you better fucking transfer your membership over there, ha ha ha, right? And you have that moment with her, right? And if it's feeling like repetitive, if it's feeling like you're too scripted on those things, I would say start playing with a little bit more flair and swag on stuff like that when it comes to pricing, and trying to slip in some of those little jokes of like, and you're gonna be, your physical therapist is gonna ask you where you've been training because they're gonna want to come to Allegiant because you're in such fucking better shape than they are, right? Mm-hmm. And then you can just kind of play on that. And then I would say how to define practice for. Just say it's like our cardio class. I wouldn't say like it's like primary movement. We went too coachy techie, which is like cool, that, but it's like for a guy like that, it's probably over his head. People in general, I usually just say like it's our cardio focused class. You could definitely get that pump. You could definitely get that like feeling. It'll be a bit more strength training focused, but in Allegiant, it's more cardio class, and that to them was okay, cool.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
And then last thing, I felt when you were talking about the mobility aspect, you can tell he's interested in mobility. Kelly Starrett's like a niche, mobility coach.
So. No.
I felt like you could play it up more about how we do such a good job in mobility, but it felt like they're not PTs, so we're not gonna like fix your thing, but they're pretty knowledgeable in mobility.
Yeah, I probably dampened his fire on that, to be honest.
It felt that way. Yeah, it felt like he was really fired up about mobility. He's into Starrett, and you're basically like, they're not PTs though. And it was like, I felt just like, he's like, oh, it just felt like,
yeah.
Right down.
Yeah, I don't know why I did that to him. But I did.
What does success look like at that wedding? He gave you an answer, but it wasn't that good of an answer. I would just say, here would be an advanced tactic, probe deeper. Like, no, dude, like, what do you want? Like, what do you, like, dream with me for a second, right? Like, close your eyes, like, what would it look like? And if he starts laughing like that or whatever, it's his fucking wedding, it's his day, like, help me get a clear picture of like what you're looking for. And then shut up and be genuinely interested. He's gonna drop dimes. And that would just be on that one level deeper of a probing question. Mm-hmm. You segued into that, what does success look like at the wedding? Awesome, he didn't give you enough, probe deeper. Mm-hmm. And then you can kind of repeat that cycle, and that's kind of like that cycle of pain sort of idea, but you're just getting them to visualize what success would look like in a very detailed way, which is only going to bode well for setting it up towards the end. Mm-hmm. Objection handling, you had pretty easy ones here. I heard it in your voice when you were just talking about like schedule and travel. Like, okay, what's your travel? I'm a weekend here, weekend here. Oh, no problem. We can get around that easily. I thought that was really solid. And then on the sell the vacation, I thought again you did a good job. You sold it really well at the top. We were like, you know, if you flash forward 6 weeks, and I forget exactly what you said, but like you know what you're eating. You've got a good amount of like training. You said something about in conjunction with running as well that I thought that was really nice. And then you got into a little TSA sort of like stuff, but I think it was fine. I think it was like, here's how the machine is actually kind of built with your personal training and this and that. But then you got out of it like very tightly. I thought that was solid. And then I would just say same thing. I think we're just teetering. You got it in there where it's like, hey, full transparency when it comes to the selling and pricing of, hey, we hope that you continue, but just don't get too much of like, it's free if you do it. And then it feels like right now we're just saying this is exactly how it's free without saying this bit of like, we hope you continue in the thing. And there's two options. One, if you do the challenge, you can take the money back and you get it for free. That's why it's free. Or what we really hope you do, full transparency, is you can credit it forward towards a membership. So when you've gotten all this training, you've got all this body of work, I know you're about to get married, but it's like, dude, those results don't have to go away and you've already put so much time into it. So we're going to incentivize you to be able to continue with this exclusive membership that keeps you on that way. Mm-hmm. And now, in his mind, that's what he's thinking about. But the way you framed it the last 2 times, I leave that, if I'm them, thinking free.
Okay. Yeah.
And my hunch is that you're it's a cool way that you're doing of like the accountability factors and you're bundling it into there. But my hunch is that you either you're sick and tired of watching people's eyes blood drain from their face when they talk about money and you lose it that way, and so you're a little gun shy to like continue to sell it in the way that it's happening. That would be my hunch, because it definitely feels like I'm gun shy to talk money and pricing in these, at least these last 2 calls.
Mm-hmm.
I had a pretty intense one-on-one earlier today after a pretty long meeting of ours, and I was basically just feeling a certain way for about 7-10 days. Something was off with the person that I've been working pretty tightly with for a long time, and I just felt like if it let it go any longer, I wasn't doing my job for that person. I wasn't doing my job for myself and for what was best for the company. So I just like sat down and kind of put it all out there. I was like, the vibes are off basically, and I've been feeling this way for a little bit. I've got my hunches in terms of what those things are, and I just want to ask, like, is everything okay? How you doing? And just get a temp check and just see what's up. Is it work? Is it personal stuff? And just listening. And it was not an easy conversation. It wasn't solved immediately, like in the moment, but sitting here on the other side, like I feel a lot better that we had the conversation. I put it out there, and that person knows that it's coming from a place of love and just trying to do the best thing for them and trying to do the best thing for the business, which when you're operating from that standpoint is always like the right spot to come from, right? But still just acknowledging that and putting that out there so everybody's on the same page and knows that. If you want to be a savage, if you want to be a beast, like if you want to be great, like you got to break through training plateaus. Like you have to break through certain things, and there's just a level of commitment and mentality that if we don't have that, all the other stuff isn't going to matter. You now have the opportunity to be in something that you don't necessarily like to do, but to basically dig deep and prove to yourself, I know how to buckle down and fucking level up and get shit done and be great at this thing that I'm just kind of like about. And it's just a mindset shift. Like that's a muscle that you can learn to work, but only if you say to yourself, like, and have that mentality and the intensity of like, I'm gonna win, like I'm gonna make this shit happen, instead of just constantly being like, yeah, it's okay, and then the results are like okay. But it's like if you hit a training plateau, or if you hit a plateau, you hit a wall, and you just keep bouncing down off of that wall, like bounce down, I hit it, bounce down, I hit it, bounce, like fucking break through that shit. Like you can do it, break through it. But if you don't have the mentality of I'm gonna break through it, you're never gonna break through it. That was just kind of like the message of like getting across to that person. And I think we all kind of need that, pep talk, so to speak. I want what's best for you and what's best for you right now, and I'm gonna sharpen you as much as I possibly can and make this make you as great as you want to be. But if you don't want to be great, and if you don't want to have the introspection and go through some of the things to like be great, then you got to tell me that, because I don't want to keep pouring in energy and resources and effort and time and thinking about this if you don't want that. And so everybody owes it to each other to do some introspection and like buckle down and up the vibes. Because if the vibes are off, that's just a lagging indicator of leading inputs and things that aren't right. And some can be solved and some can't. And a pep talk like this is not long-term solution, but hopefully the catalyst to be able to get on the right track and realize, you know what, like you're right, and I'm gonna step it up. Selfishly, I was also thinking about it too. It's good to have those combos and the teacher learns the most. But then I'm also like, man, like it would be dope to have somebody telling me that, you know, calling me out on that, of like holding me accountable on some things. Because it's like when you're the boss, or I've got amazing business partners, right? But they're not in it in the same way. Whereas if you had that level of accountability and support and somebody looking out, mentoring you, which I've had in my career, and I definitely had, I had one mentor in Steve Rennie that showed me a lot of the things, but he never, I guess it was a little bit different. Like he never had to have a moment where he was like, yo, get your head in the game. Like we need to up this thing. I just learned so much from him in just a different capacity. That's my role right now, is to be the knife sharpener. I feel good that I had the hard conversations, that I didn't wait for it to go too long, because in the past I would have waited to not have the hard conversation. I would have eventually had it, but I would have just been like, oh, maybe it's something else, or maybe it's this, or maybe it's that. But this time I was just like, no, it's gone on long enough, like a week, and we're gonna have this conversation now, and we're gonna get it out there, because that's gonna be the fastest path and the cleanest path to having the right outcome. I get fired up just talking about it again.